Hey guys, this is Tony with Salt Strong, and in this video I want to show you how I use our new app to pre-plan an inshore fishing trip. Now this app has a ton of features that can help you pretty much plan your trip. That way you can have a more successful day out there on the water, and it's all in one spot. You know, you don't have to go to a separate site to check the weather. You don't have to go to a separate site to check the tides. You don't have to go to a separate site to look at the satellite map. It's all right here so that you can get the most out of planning your trip. So what I typically do first, this will, vary from person to person depending on how much free time you have, but I will actually pick a spot first and then pick the proper day to go out based on the conditions. For most people, it's going to be the opposite. You'll have to, some people only have a certain day off. So let's say you have Thursday off. You would pick that day and then you would pick the spot based on the weather. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's say I'm going to head out on this day. This is Thursday, June 23rd. Again, this is just an example. You can see the winds are 5 to 10 miles per hour, gusting to about 16, and they're coming from the south. Doesn't look like there's going to be too much rain, 15%. And then the high is going to be 94, low is 73. And then you can click on that day and it'll give you an hour by hour of everything. So that's definitely a nice feature there. You can check at what time you're going to get out there, usually about 6 o'clock. That's when I'm getting out in the summertime. I want to be on the water. It's going to be blowing about 5 miles per hour. And then it looks to be about 5 to 10 miles per hour from 6 in the morning till about 11 in the morning, which is that window that I'm typically going to be fishing. So let's go ahead and go to the map here. To go to satellite view, I'm going to click on the little wheel or the gear down here on the bottom right, and you will click on these layers. This is the layer tool. Go to satellite view, and now we can zoom in. And the area that I'm going to use as an example is over here near Tampa. And as you start zooming into the area, it's going to give you a more updated forecast. So now it looks like the winds are a little bit stronger. As I'm zooming into the area, it's giving more of a specific forecast for that area that you're starting to zoom into. So let's see, Thursday, the winds are going to be from the south. So let's take a look at this shoreline right here. If the winds are too strong, ideally I'm going to try to stay out of those winds. If they're light winds in the summertime, I like to fish the area that's kind of getting hit by the wind. But in this case, it's going to be a pretty strong wind, 7 to 12 miles per hour. Can be difficult to fish if you're fishing right in the middle of it. So let's take this wind protected shoreline right here. Looks like a nice flat. Right off this shoreline, you have some cuts and coves that you want to fish. And to get rid of this, you just click on that gear to get that out of the way. And depending on the tide, that's the next thing. I will check the tide. Click this icon right over here, and that will give you some tide stations nearby. So the nearest one would either be this one or this one. Let's go ahead and click on this one. And that will take you to some even more detail about the area. This will give you the strike score. So we're on Thursday, strike score 7.5, which is pretty good. Then it will give you the tides. And on Thursday, let's see, the tide in the morning, it's going to be a pretty weak incoming tide all morning. So with that being said, I'll most likely be fishing the shorelines, because as the tide's coming in, those fish like to push up to shorelines. So I'll definitely be checking out the shorelines in this area based on the tide and the wind. The tide will be coming in, the wind will be going out from the south. So because the wind and the tide are working against each other, that's usually why the tide's not going to be as strong, because they're basically fighting each other. So that would pretty much be my plan for fishing this area using this app. Now there are a couple other features if you wanted to get into some real more detail. Go to the layers feature and notice there's oyster beds and seagrass. Now this is currently only available for Florida. We're going to start updating it for other areas, but you click on oyster beds, click on seagrass. Seagrass is in green. As you can see, there really aren't any oyster beds around that I can see till you get to the south here. Oyster beds are highlighted in white. So another great tool to help you narrow down where you would want to fish. So in this case, you can see there's some seagrass out here, some patchy seagrass. If it was an outgoing tide, I would definitely check out some of these areas with the seagrass, or even an incoming tide. You know, if the fish aren't really pushed up, I'll go out and possibly check this out on this trip. And then another feature, if you're planning out your trip, is using the marine chart for navigational purposes, you know, to get to your spot. And then also the shaded relief, which will give you sort of a underwater view of what the bottom contours actually look like. Some deeper potholes, some deeper cuts. As you can see, there's a deeper sort of channel that runs in right here. And then you can see the rest is pretty much just wide open flat. So no real depth contours out there. But if you were to zoom out a little more, you can see some more depth contours there. The lighter colors are actually the deeper areas, and the darker colors here are actually the more shallow areas. So definitely keep that in mind when you're planning your trip. You can see the channel clearly right there. So if you need to run, definitely make sure you're in a channel to get to your spot, and then you can tell when it starts getting shallower. And the nice thing is, you know, right now I'm using this on my desktop, but you can use it on your phone as well. So when you're out there on the water trying to navigate, it can definitely help when you're on your phone out there. And also anything you save, such as your tracks or your routes or anything like that while you're out on the water, which is some other features here. You know, you can record your track as you're going out and then save it at the end of the day. You can also plan a route and save that, and then it'll all be saved. So if you do that all on your phone, then you come back home and you get on your desktop because you're logged in as an Insider member. Again, this is only available for Insider members, so definitely be sure to check that out if you are interested in this app. But when you're logged in as an Insider member, whether it be on your phone or the desktop, it all transfers back and forth to each other. So as long as you're logged in, all that information will be saved. So hopefully this video can give you a better understanding of how to pre-plan your trip using our new app called Smart Fishing Spots. We have a lot of features coming up very soon. We actually have something where you're going to actually be able to see spots on your phone. We use augmented reality where you're actually going to be able to see spots highlighted based on the conditions, and that will help you find some better spots that way. So if you have any questions or comments, please feel free to leave them down below. Also, remember, this is only for our Insider members. So if you're not an Insider member yet, you're definitely missing out on this great tool that will help you start planning your trips more effectively and start catching more fish. So if you're interested in that Insider membership, definitely go to saltstrong.com and check it out there. And if you're new to SaltStrong, just know that we're the best online fishing club in America, especially if you're targeting redfish, sea trout, snook, or flounder. There's nothing else like it because we actually guarantee that you'll catch more inshore fish while saving time on the water and money on the tackle you need. We do this through premium education, our exclusive insider fishing community, and huge discounts on the best tackle for saltwater anglers. To learn more, go to saltstrong.com. Otherwise, we hope to see you again soon.